Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out the shore, or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Oh, you know what? I always forget this. There. Welcome to another Gaarawarr's Guide to the Tutorial Show. I'm Gaarawarr. Today our topic is going to be the Heroes of the Plains, the entire group. As you can see on the screen right now, there's a lot of them, folks. There's a lot of them, but we're going to go through them. We're going to go through each and every one of them today. The way the tutorial show works is for the first hour-ish, depending on how long it takes me to talk about all of these people, I talk at the screen. In the second hour, I do all the questions. So in the meantime, though, you can post your questions in chat. We have Jay in the mod pod today. Hello, Jay. Jay's going to be grabbing all the questions from chat, throwing them over here, and then I will get to them in the second half. I'll address all the on-topic ones first, and then the off-topic ones afterwards. So we usually have time for a little bit of both. I realized when I set this up, I forgot to put out familiars, and I mean, there are at least a couple. No, that's just the Curious Swamp. There are a couple of familiars related to the Heroes of the Plains. We should probably get those out, too. Like Grant, the baby blue dragon, and then Flo. This is the pirate Flo. Where's the regular Flo? Oh, there's only... There we go. And then Griff. Let's put Griff... Oh, well, pirate Griff, yeah. Pirate Griff works. Is that all of them? No. Jeez, Lauren's yelling at me off screen, I'm sure. How do you forget the Phoenix? I died, yeah. Oops. Alright, well, that'll do. That'll do, Guard, that'll do. No, J-Dog, the screen does not talk back when I talk at it. The screen does not talk back. So we're going to dive in and do the thing. Oh, boy, this is a lot of champions. Folks. The Heroes of the Plains are a group of champions that come from a multitude of streamed TTRPG live play shows. They started off as the Heroes of the Veil, with maybe a cut, not necessarily everyone you see on the screen, and then eventually ended up as Heroes of the Plains, and then went through lots of shows names in between there, with some other champions along the way. But this was the final grouping, and that's what arrives in the game currently. I mean, to be honest, they have enough people that showed up on that show at one point or another. They could probably fill like every single bench slot. But as you can see, they're all here. They're all here. All right there. We're going to start off with Orkira. Orkira, as played by Lauren, a.k.a. Obo Lauren. Wonderful as CNE member. Dragonborn Cleric of the Phoenix. Healing support. Melee, or the base attack is called Burning Hands. It is a magical base attack, as you can tell by this magic symbol here. Orkira leaps to a random enemy and attacks with a small AoE cone of fire. Because of course she does. Let's give her a few levels. Lesser Restoration. Orkira does two things, folks, before we even get into this. Heals and burns. That's it. So, right off the bat, Lesser Restoration Orkira heals all non-adjacent damaged champions for an amount of health per second. The amount changes for a lot of different reasons, but the key here is non-adjacent, which means if you want to heal your tank line, you don't want Orkira near your tank line. She's not going to heal anybody right next to her. So these are just kind of cues on placement. She's going to have some other things that are based off this, and that adjust this, and we'll talk about that. So the other point was damaged champions. So as you can see, there's not a lot of green flying around on my screen, and that's because nobody's damaged. But again, you can modify some of these things, and we'll do that here in a moment. Elemental Fire. This is the big debuff. This is the big debuff that everybody likes. Whenever Orkira damages an enemy, they receive 1 stack of Elemental Fire, taking 10% of Orkira's damage per second for 15 seconds. That's not a big deal because Orkira isn't the DPS. It's the second part that's the big deal. And receiving additional damage from all attacks. So this is what everybody likes when she goes out and does that cone of burning fire onto a single enemy or groups of enemies. That makes them take more damage, and the more often she does it, the more damage they take. As we see in the next sentence, his ability stacks up to 10 times additively, and attempting to add another stack will reset the cooldown of all stacks. So once she ramps it up to 10, she can keep it there as long as she keeps burninating them. And then a Healing Flame is kind of the thing that brings everything together. It brings the healing and the fire together into one nice cohesive thing. This increases the effect of elemental fire by 100% for each order of magnitude worth of effective healing done with Lesser Restoration on the current run. It's a lot to unpack here. Order of magnitude. Some of you are going, what's an order of magnitude? Well, these numbers up on the left that say something E71, this is scientific notation. We use this because the E numbers are orders of magnitude. So this would be 71 orders of magnitude. What is an order of magnitude? Basically, scientific notation, it looks at a number and then a decimal point and then numbers after the decimal point, and the number after the E is the number of spaces you move the decimal point over. So if this was 1 EO, or if it was 2.12 EO2, that's basically 212, right? You'd just be moving the decimal point over. You wouldn't do that for a small number like that. But when you get into large numbers in this game, you need something like scientific notation, because when you're moving the decimal point 71 places to the right, you kind of lose track over what that number actually is, and it doesn't even really matter. All that matters is that you know that E71 is bigger than E70, or smaller than E72, because once you get into large numbers in this game, it's all about just recognizing roughly where you're at and what up and down are. You don't need to know, oh, this is a quadrillion and this is a septillion. You don't need to know that. You don't need to know that. You just need to know, did my numbers go up or did they go down, or did they stay the same? So, order of magnitude. So, the effective elemental fireball, 100% for each order of magnitude worth of effective healing. So the other part of this is effective healing. What's that? Well, as we talked about, you only heal damaged people, right? So right now, Orkira probably doesn't have a lot of healing. Like if we come over here and we look at the healing flame, effective healing done, 0. Because nobody's been hurt, right? So right now she's giving no bonus. No bonus whatsoever. But we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. And we do that with her specializations. So she has two specializations. One is called Breath of the Phoenix, and one called Tail Feather of the Phoenix. Breath of the Phoenix increases the size of the AoE cone from her melee attack, or from her basic attack. Excuse me, it's not melee. It's magical. From her basic attack, and words matter. Basic attack, and it applies 2 stacks instead of 1. That's all cool and all, but we don't want that one. We want Tail Feather of the Phoenix, or as I like to call it, Shake Your Tail Feather. Increase the effect of lesser restoration by 100%. So that means we're healing twice as much. Lesser restoration will now heal undamaged champions, and Healing Flame will count 1% of this non-effective healing as well. This is how we roll. This is how we roll. So now you see, everyone that's not adjacent to her is now getting little green numbers pop up over the head. So Orkira's now healing. We come over here, we now have effective healing done. Now, the order of magnitude isn't very large. It's 1, right, currently, because this, if you moved the decimal point over, there'd be only 1 decimal point movement after the first one. Now it's 2. Hey, look at that, because now we're into triple digits, right? It's going to keep ticking up. And there's ways we can really boost this, and we'll talk about that in a bit as well. Okay, let me throw some more levels. But basically, you want to make sure that you're feeding into elemental fire, so you always want to go with that right spec. I've never found a case where that left spec is actually what you would want to choose to be optimal. We're talking about like optimal gameplay here, folks. If we continue to look, hey, look, we get some updates. We get an ultimate that we'll talk about in a minute, and we get something called self-sacrifice, and nothing after that. So let's dive into self-sacrifice. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's a big wall of text here, but it comes down to one thing. Orkira's going to lay her life on the line for the people in her party. So if a champion Orkira is able to heal, again, she only heals non-adjacent people. If a champion she's able to heal is about to take a killing blow, Orkira instantly swaps formation slots with that champion for 10 seconds and takes the hit for them. So basically, Orkira goes, I'm going to get in the way and tank for a while, because usually this is happening on the tank. Not always. There are bosses that do AoE damage, and Orkira would swap places with the squishy. Not that that would mean a whole lot, but it's better when she's... Usually you're going to see this with the tank. During this time, Orkira's overwhelm point is set to twice the other champions. So if they were a tank and they had 30 overwhelm, Orkira swaps places and suddenly goes from 5 overwhelm to 60. Right? This sounds really cool, but overwhelm isn't that big of a deal in the game currently. It is an increase in damage for anything over that number. Who knows? At some point, maybe it'll be a bigger deal. Neither Orkira nor the other champion can be moved, removed, or swapped out during that period of time. So when she jumps up to do that, you can't just manually put somebody else back there. Orkira's got to stay there for 10 seconds and get beat up by whatever killed the tank. If it killed the tank, Orkira may not live very long. That's the downside of this. After the time expires, they swap back, regardless of whether Orkira and or the other champion died during the time. And also, I think if they, I think they made an update to this recently, related to, like, potentially changing a level. Yes, Fixed Orkira's self-sacrifice ability to now immediately swap the champions back to their original slots when the area changes or Orkira is defeated. So this isn't reflected in the... hasn't been updated in the text here for self-sacrifice, but that is a change. This effect can only occur once every 60 seconds. So, it's only going to happen... it's got a cooldown on happening. But that's the big... I'm going to save my friends thing that Orkira will do. So right now, Orkira would self-sacrifice for everyone but Alindra. Sorry, Alindra. But if we moved Alindra up here, then it's just everybody. Then it's everybody. Which is more thematically appropriate. Now, Ultimate. Ultimate right here. Radiance of the Phoenix. Orkira flies up over the enemies, grasping the domain of the Phoenix, that's her cleric book, and uttering a prayer, summoning the Phoenix to rain elemental fire down upon the battlefield. This deals damage and increases the elemental fire stacks of affected enemies by 1 every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. So it will add a total of 5 stacks. It will add a total of 5 stacks to everything that on the field. If everything is out there the entire time, right? So here's what it looks like. Hold on, let me turn off progress. There we go. We get the cool Phoenix symbol in the middle, and just fire raining down for 10 seconds. Yep. And then it goes away, and then it goes away. Pretty cool looking ultimate. Item-wise, because she is a healing support, she gets 2 damage all champions items. She gets a lesser restoration item, that's the heal. She gets an elemental fire item, that's the debuff. But then she gets a healing flame item. That's the thing that boosts the debuff based off the healing. So the itemization goes all in on trying to make Orkira as amazing as possible. And then you get a cooldown reduction item so that you can drop that fire far more often. Far more often. Feat-wise, we have a good assortment of feats here. Increased damage all champions. There's another one down here I just haven't bought. There's a couple of those. There's a couple lesser restorations. So that's the heal. They give you the nice healing symbol to let you know. There's 2 elemental fires, and then there's a healing flame. Generally speaking, I tend to just run the double elemental fire. Unless I'm stacking up my healing, and then I swap these in for the moment. Do we want to talk about that right now? Yeah, we're going to do it right now. All right, let me save this formation as heroes. Heroes. All right. Orkira has something that the community in general would refer to as a manual stacking feature. So this is very manual play. This isn't passive play. There are 2 kinds of ways champions work in this game. They either just passively function on their own, or you have to get manually gimmicky with them to really maximize what they do. Orkira has a manually gimmicky feature. What we do with Orkira is we want to focus on building all the healing that we can. So you start out by swapping into... this requires... you swap into the healing feats. This does require a specific champion to make happen, and that champion is Artemis Intrari. So if you do not have Artemis Intrari, this does not work. This does not work. We're gonna let these level up and get these boxes out of the way, and then we'll talk about what's going on here. Okay, that's good. So Artemis Intrari is the Prudence trolling me. Artemis Intrari is the gentleman in black in the middle. Oh, seriously, gentleman in black in the middle of the formation right here. Artemis has a feature where he can observe abilities and positional formation abilities that other people in the party are receiving, specifically DPS champions. That's why we see primarily DPS champions on the field at the moment. So he has a couple different ways he can do that. He can either do that, and he can do that just straight up, but then he can buff that either by adjacencies, which you see right here, or specifically lore-wise by observing off of Cadibri and Drizzt. I use the adjacency method, which is why he's surrounded right now by DPS. Another feature of this is Archon, who you get automatically. That's right here. Let me get them out of this costume. Archon the Cruel. Archon the Cruel usurps off somebody next to them. They usurp an ability they are not receiving. So you put Archon next to Orkira, and then they usurp a heal off of Ashara, right? So Ashara here exists here just to kind of help buff Artemis, but specifically all of these DPS champions around Artemis are here to just be observable by Artemis, but then you put one next to Archon. And as you can see, the numbers here are EO5 normally to everybody, but EO8 to Archon because he's usurping. And then Artemis overall is getting E18 healing just because of all of these shenaniganries. Now, Alcoria is up here in the front. Alcoria has an ability that based on the number of spellcaster school people stack she has, as long as she has 5, then she triggers her Watchful Order, which buffs positional formation abilities like Orkira's healing by 1%. So we're using that to magnify things. Narak has an ability called Githzerai Focus that buffs champion abilities as long as they have a specific wisdom score, which Orkira qualifies for. So all of these are in here basically to make Orkira heal as much as possible and Artemis to receive as much healing as possible. And now we're up to E19 for some unknown buggy reason. And now E20. Oh, jeez, idle champions, come on. But that looks about normal. So E20, and now if we come over here, my Healing Flame is now got 20 orders of magnitude, right? So I have 20 stacks. So that's buffed, taking my Elemental Fire debuff now up to E16. So you can get this debuff now up into the teens. I know people have already mentioned that Orkira was nerfed recently. Ultimately, she was reading her abilities wrong. We're going to blame that on the 8int. Sorry, Lord. She was reading her abilities wrong, and she was applying some of the numbers pre-stack instead of post-stack. And her Elemental Fire debuff was getting really, really, really high. It made her phenomenally amazing, and now she's just great. She's just a great debuffer, whereas before she was a phenomenally amazing debuffer. Still, this method is how you do this, how you get the big numbers. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with probably like an EO3, EO4 debuff. Like you'll be in single digits at best. So it is a good idea to learn how to do this kind of manipulation. Again, it does require Archon, who you get automatically, but it does require Artemis. You'll have to grab Artemis probably from a time gate. Narak and Alcoria are just nice boosts. Narak would be from a time gate. Alcoria is from Waterdeep Dragon Heist, the campaign. She's an evergreen. Everybody else, you're just filling in. And ideally, they're magic-based. Magic-based attackers to trigger Alcoria, right? That's what we're doing here. Now, obviously, in different layouts, in different formation, different campaigns or whatever, you're going to have to figure out a different layout. But that's just part of the Orkira stacking mini game. So there we go. Let me load our heroes back up. So next up is Whittle. Here, let's move them out of the way. We'll get a good view of Whittle. Whittle is a Dampier Gnome Wizard. There's a lot going on in that sentence. Healing support speed. For those of you, I got to do this every time. For those of you who are wondering what's the difference between a Dampier and a Vampire, one's wet, the other's dry. Whittle's base attack is Blunderbolt. It is a magical base attack. I know it looks like she's holding a gun, but it's a magical base attack. That's because she's a wizard. The gun is basically her magical focus. So Whittle fires a firebolt from her enormous blunderbuss, damaging a random enemy. So single target. Whittle's first ability up is Vampiric Gaze. Whittle charms those adjacent to her with her Vampiric Gaze, increasing their damage by an amount. This amount is variable, based off items and feats and whatnot. So this means you want her adjacent to your DPS. That's your positional cue for placement. Hurry up now. Champions affected by Whittle's vampiric gaze, so those adjacent to her, have a 25% chance to immediately reset their base attack cooldown after they attack. This can be a big deal. There are a lot of champions in the game now that apply things like debuffs based off attacking an enemy. So, if you place them next to Whittle, they're going to potentially be firing off those attacks more often, which means you're going to stack up debuffs faster. That's a good thing. So we've got Freely next to her. Freely's got a debuff we'll talk about when we get to Freely. And you know, or Kira would probably be good to be faster because she stacks up her debuff that way too, right? So whoever you want to stack up debuffs for, you want next to Whittle. That's kind of, or you know, whatever, if they have on-hit things that you really, really want. And then, you know, having your DPS next to them would be a good idea too, right? Tasty Friends. That ability name. Champions affected by Whittle's vampiric gaze look extra tasty to the enemies. Is that a good thing? Each affected champion increases the monster spawn speed by 10%, stacking additively. So this is Whittle's speed effect. This is what earns her the speed tag. So basically, the more champions you have adjacent to Whittle, the faster the enemy's spawn speed is. Now, spawn speed, specifically, it isn't making more of them spawn faster. I mean, that's what it sounds like, but that's not it. Spawn speed is how long it takes to go from right here on the right-hand side of the screen where they initially show up to this point where they're actually being hit by things. So the faster they can go from point A to point B, the quicker you can kill them, and thus that is a speed effect on a champion. Deacon has a similar speed effect. One of Melf's 3 effects, random effects, is like this as well. So that is what they're referring to. And these can, having them on multiple champions, multiplies against each other, causing spawn speed to go very fast. I don't know what the functional cap is in terms of like the percent that you would need. But in terms of frames, the developers stated on stream this week that basically the fastest you can get this frame-wise is to have them move from that point to that point, A to B at point B, in one frame. In one frame of animation. I don't know what the actual numbers are that you have to get to that. But somebody, now that we know that, I'm sure that people have figured that out. That's what people refer to in the community as kind of the functional cap, like it's capped. Well, that's what they're talking about. So at some point, having lots of speed in this type of speed effect doesn't give you any more bonuses. It's a functional cap to the ability. Specializations, basically, all of these are the same. They just target different things. So the effects of Whittle's abilities on champions affected by vampire gaze are increased by 50% on champions with, and it's either strength and dex 12 or higher, int and con 12 or higher, or wisdom and charisma 12 or higher. Here's the thing. They put these champions in formation targeted numbers down here. These in general are nice. However, this isn't what you want to look at. This isn't what you want to look at. What you want to look at is, who is my primary DPS? Because that's all that it matters when it comes to... that's the main thing. I'm not going to say that's not all that matters, because there's other effects that are going on that are buffed by by champions affected by vampiric gaze. But the big deal is increasing your DPS. Generally speaking, you want to increase your DPS, right? So picking the one that's going to focus on your DPS is a good idea. So figure that out. We don't have a, spoiler alert, the Heroes of the Plains don't have an in-group DPS champion. So you're going to have to pick a DPS champion from one of these 5 slots they don't reside in, put them in the formation with them, and then pick based off what you're doing. I'm just going to go strong and steady just because it really doesn't matter at the moment. Now, keep in mind, that is going to buff her extra attack chance from Hurry Up Now. It's going to buff Tasty Friends, but it is what it is. It's also going to buff only as slow as the fastest link. Champions affected by Whittle's Vampiric Gaze have a base attack cooldown equal to the quickest of the affected champions. So what this means is those that are adjacent to her, whoever has the fastest attack speed adjacent to her, everybody adjacent to her has that attack speed. So like right now we're all at 415. We're all at 415 now. If I move Akira back, she goes to 425. So she didn't get a huge difference, but that's just because we don't have a super fast attacking DPS in here right now. But whatever the lowest attack speed champion is, they're going to spread that to everyone. So again, this helps you, is another way that Whittle is going to help you spread debuffs, especially if those debuffs are on slow attacking champions. Now they're going to be on now they're going to be attacking quicker and be able to get that out more often, so you can move forward faster. There is some shenanigans, specifically like we were talking about earlier with Artemis and Archon. You can basically get if you do it right, you can get them down to less than a second attack speed, like or what it'll say is the base attack is like 0.98 or 0.93 or whatever. Here's the thing about attack speed in this game. There is a functional cap, and that functional cap is the animation speed for that champion's basic attack. So where they're jumping out and attacking something, or like freely there where he's firing off that his Eldritch Blast, however long that animation cycle takes is however long is the slowest you can ever get them. It'll just be out and out again and again and again on repeat instead of a delay in between, but you can't speed up their attack animation. Not by speeding up their base attack cooldown. You can speed up the entire game with certain champions and with potions and things, but you can't speed up their animation speed just by lowering their base attack cooldown. So keep that in mind. There will be a functional cap to how high you can get that, or how low you can get that, I should say. Whittle's ultimate, Vampiric Bite. Whittle leaps out and ferociously bites a random enemy, dealing enormous damage. She then leaps back into the formation where her Vampiric Bite heals her and everyone affected by Vampiric Gaze for an amount equal to her own max health. So this is a not horrible heal. It's better on squishies than it is on tanks, but that being said, as long as your tanks have health share, Whittle's going to have a respectable amount of health. Yeah. I haven't leveled up Briv yet, but 850, and then if we compare that to Akira, that's like half of that, and he's got EO4. Again, we're going to see. Let me just go. I don't think I can get him to his health share yet. Oh, there we go. So now we're at 232 EO4. That's 2-4. So you can do a good chunk of heals. It's just not going to be that you can't full heal a tank, right? So it is better for your squishies, which is normally where you'd have her placed anyway, is surrounded by squishies. So on those areas where you're taking damage to your whole party, Whittle's ultimate, here if we show, boom, comes back, all that blood that streams back, hits everybody else around her, super gross. And then there's her heal. Whittle's items, as a healing support speed champion, she gets double damage all champions' items. She buffs that Vampiric Gaze. She buffs the Tasty Friends. Again, Tasty Friends is the speed effect, so this is a speed item. Again, it has no actual cap, but it has a functional cap. So you can throw lots of levels in it, but eventually, at some point, you're not gonna see any return on your investment. Then the ultimate attack duo, so damage and cooldown reduction. Feat wise, you see again damage all champions. We get a suite of Vampiric Gaze, hurry up now, Tasty Friends action. Then you get durable, which is a Constitution bonus. Constitution +1, and if we come over here, you'll see that makes Whittle qualify for Vajra, Patron Vajra. So Whittle starts out at 13 con, that'll take her to 14, so that's helpful. Next up, we're going to talk Briv. We're going to talk Briv Steel Marrow. The half-orc paladin. Tanking, healing, support, and speed. If that seems like a lot of roles to you, it's because it is. It is. Briv does everything, and he does it all really, really well, which feels a little overpowering for a champion, and that's because Briv is overpowered. Briv is totally overpowered. Briv is OP, folks. Briv is OP. We're picking up. This is good timing. Wow. This is good timing. Briv arrives in Festival of Fools in just 1, 2, 3, 4 days? 4 or 5 days. Wednesday. Wednesday at noon Pacifically. Briv arrives in Festival of Fools, along with Alindra. So the next champion we're going to talk about here, she'll be up as well. And so, yeah, so if you don't have either of these next two champions we're going to talk about, you're gonna pick them up real quick. Briv's OP. Briv's base attack, Mocking Cleave. Briv cleaves a random enemy with his greatsword. Each enemy hit has a 20% chance of being taunted, switching its target to Briv. Currently, this is the only taunt for a tank in the game. 1 in 5 chance. There's no way to change that. And he does have an AoE, so if you hit groups of enemies, he's going to try to pull them over onto him. He does have a 30 overwhelm, which is very high. 25 tends to be average. 30 is like nice. Again, overwhelm isn't as huge a deal as you might think, but it is nice to have a high overwhelm if you're a tank that is taunting things. Briv's entire kit revolves around steel bones. So let's talk about that. Whenever Briv comes under attack, metal shoots out of his pores and covers him in strong armor. While armored, Briv takes 10% less damage and gains stacks of steel bones whenever he's hit by an enemy attack. So this is automatic damage reduction, just 10% damage reduction right off the bat. Briv will take 10% less damage than everybody else. And every time he gets hit, he builds a steel bone stack. So Netherese Steel. Briv increases the damage of all champions behind him by a percent for each stack of steel bones he has gained. So every time he gets hit, he buffs everybody else. And that sticks around. It's not like other tank champions where while they're under attack, they have a ramping buff. No, this is a stacking buff that keeps stacking during your entire adventure until you end. It's just his buff for everybody else gets higher and higher every time he gets hit. Now, there are diminishing returns in this game, so, at a certain point, waiting around for him to raise his buff isn't going to be worth it because large numbers, but this is much nicer than other tanks. One of the reasons he's in that OP category. Unnatural Haste. This is the big thing people love. Speed. They want Briv. If you love speed, you want Briv. Briv has a chance of sprinting forward quickly on steel springs after completing a new area. This action consumes 4% of his sprint stacks and requires at least 50 stacks to occur. So this is that jumping thing you've been seeing him do in the background, sort of. When you reset the adventure, all stacks of steel bones that Briv has gained convert into stacks of sprint. I'm going to say this again because this is what confuses a lot of new players. When you reset the adventure, so that means when you complete the adventure and start a new one, all stacks of steel bones, that's the stuff he gains when he gets beat on, convert into stacks of sprint. So that means the only way you get his speed effect to work is if you use him in an adventure. He tanks a lot of hits, and then you use him in the next adventure you go on. There's no way to build up sprint stacks mid-adventure via normal play methods. We'll leave that at that. So, unused sprint stacks persist through reset. So even if you don't use them all in the next run, that's fine. They'll stick around. Healing Flow. So we've already talked about how Briv gets damage reduction, just exists at 10% damage reduction, which isn't a thing that's found often, like a percentage damage reduction. There's another tank that gets a flat value damage reduction, which doesn't scale well, but percentages scale well. And then Briv gets this jumping ability, and now we get healing flow. Briv's pet Flump Flow appears next to Briv and telepathically stores healing power whenever Briv is hit. After 10 hits or 10 seconds, whichever comes first, Flow heals all champions in the party for 50% of the damage Briv took during that time. That means Briv too. So as long as on top of that 10% damage reduction, as long as Briv can live through 10 hits or 10 seconds, he gets 50% of all the damage he took back as a heal at base. That's basically like a delayed additional 50% damage reduction. This is why people love new players and mid-game players love Briv as a tank, because this makes him just survive through so much. And you're healing everyone else on top of it. If you're triggering his healing on a regular basis, Briv becomes the best healer in the game. Now, of course, he has to get hit to do that. That isn't always a guarantee, but it's a thing. Now, we can manipulate this, too. If you think 50% healing is nice, check back with me in a minute. Oath of Heroism. Here's the health share. So this is the standard tank. I'm going to share 25% of my health with everybody else. That's what protects people. Let's talk about specializations. Metalborn. This makes it so that the speed effect uses 20% less sprint stacks. So if you're just running speed stuff and you want those stacks to last as long as possible, you run Metalborn. Tempered Steel increases the effect of Briv's Netherese Steel ability by 100%. Not gonna lie, it's okay, but the last one, if for actual usage as a tank, you want to go with the flow. This increases the effect of Briv's healing flow ability by 50%. To be clear, this is multiplicatively, not additively, so it takes that 50% up to 75%. So Briv suddenly goes from a base 10% damage reduction, and then he also gets 75% of his health back after getting hit like 10 times, or getting hit once, and then 10 seconds later he gets it all back. That's a big deal. That's a big deal early on. Is that Gaarawarr? Is that all? Can he only do 75%? No. Mert the Moneylender is your first patron. It should be the first patron you unlock in the game. Mert's got a perk called Perk Up that increases the healing received by tank champions by 50%. Hey, guess what, folks? Briv's a tank champion. So this looks at that 75% and ups it by another 50%, which puts you at over 100% healing. So every 10 seconds or 10 hits, once you have Perk Up maxed out, Briv heals to full, and he heals the whole party along with it. Now this makes Briv indestructible at low areas. You're just not gonna destroy Briv at low areas. Higher areas he can still basically get not one shot. It's just you can hit him hard enough within 10 seconds or 10 hits that he'll die. But kind of a big deal early on. So yeah, Briv, this is why you're going to want to pick up Briv in the next event. He's OP. So as long as he remains OP, he's going to be a big deal. All right, his ultimate is called Netherese Explosion. Briv forces all of his remaining Netherese metal out of his body, shooting it out in an arc in front of him and damaging all enemies that it passes through. He then draws it all back into himself, dealing double damage to enemies that it hits on the way back. Here's what it looks like. Poof, and back. That's it. Lots of silver shards that go out and back in again. Go out and back in again. Let me turn the speed effect off. And I'll show that again later. Item-wise, he has everything you could want. Damage all champions, health, Nethery Steel. He has Unnatural Haste. The Ordinarax is his speed item. That's everybody in the game is always hunting for the golden epic Theodinarax. It's, you know, it pops up in wild offers every now and again, and that's what people want. This is the wild offer you want for Briv. And then he gets ultimate attack and cooldown reduction. I guess you don't necessarily want these, but the big one is health and speed, frankly. Health and speed. Okay. Feat-wise, Briv's got increased damage all champions. He's got tough, which is health. This is a big deal, folks. Again, because he heals for full as long as he lives. Putting lots of health on him is a big deal if you're really trying to stay alive. Nethery Steel, he's got a couple of those. He's also got Overwhelm. Why would you want Overwhelm, or like how do you compare Overwhelm versus health with tanks? Basically, you're looking at what's killing you. Are you dying because there's more than 30 enemies and that bonus damage is killing you? Then you might want to up your Overwhelm point. But if you're just even before then, if you're just taking too much damage, then you go with health, right? Yeah, that's it. So he's all about being a tank. He's all about being a tanky boy. Man, we aren't even halfway through the Heroes of the Plains, but we're more than halfway through the first hour of this. Q&A is going to be short today, folks. I swear I will rush through it as quick as I can. Well, not rush, but I will get to as many questions as possible. There's just a lot going on with these champions. Alindra's up next. Alindra Alexandria Garanahil Sarbarand, also known as the Lore Keeper of Rhyme Spear, Kinscribe of Clan Monkey Mouse, Daughter of Oblivion, Fate Changer, Knight of Wonder and Captivation. She's got a lot of titles, folks. Alindra's a wizard, an elf wizard cleric. Base attack, magical attack, Mind Spike. Mind Spike. Alindra spikes the mind of a random enemy, damaging them and slowing them by 50% for 3 seconds. So, because it's a random enemy, it's nice, but it's not like super reliable, and it is a single thing. So it's just a nice little bonus that she's going to slow your enemies down as they're coming at you. Portent. Every 30 seconds, Alindra randomly chooses up to 2 adjacent champions and peers into their futures, helping guide their attacks, increasing their damage by 1%. So this means you want Alindra adjacent to your DPS champion. That's your positioning cue here. Alindra needs to be adjacent to your DPS champion. Brows of Judgment. Griff. Oh, Griff. Alindra's owl companion sits on Alindra's shoulder and judges enemies as they spawn. Let's be fair. Briv judges everyone. But specifically here, judging enemies. They have a 25% chance to judge normal enemies as unworthy, and a 100% chance to judge bosses as unworthy. For each living unworthy normal enemy, Portent's base buff is increased by 1%. Stacking additively, each living boss increases Portent's base buff by a much larger percent. So this is just a nice bonus that Briv gives automatically to Portent. And, you know, it's based off the number of times he judges something as unworthy. Is unworthy. Like I said, though, Briv judges everybody as unworthy, realistically. Heroes of the Plains ability, if this looks like a wall of text, it's because it is. Instead of putting like an affiliation bonus across all the Heroes of the Plains that, you know, functions a little bit here and there, they put it all on Alindra. All of it. So here we go. If Portent is applied to a champion under the effect of certain Heroes of the Plains champions' abilities, those effects are increased in power. So basically, Alindra is going to buff the abilities of the other Heroes of the Plains on champions that are affected by her Portent. Did you get all that? It's a VOD. You can back up and listen to it again. Avrin. Mirror image effects on the Portented champion are increased by 1%. I say 1% because these things get adjusted by items and whatnot. So this can potentially be ramped up. Folks, Avrin's mirror image Averin, the strongest support champion in the game. Briv, strongest tank. Not strongest. One of the more OP tanks in the top 3 OP tanks in the game. But Averin, number 1 support buffer in the game. Support buffer. So buffing his support buff again, that's kind of a big deal. Freely, unlucky for them, increased by 1% for each portented champion affected by Luck of Yandala. We're not to Freely yet, but we're going to talk about Freely. Unlucky for them is a big debuff. So again, this is huge. Penelope, Chewinga Mask. Tools for the job charm increased by the % for each portented champion affected by the Chewinga Mask, stacking multiplicatively. That's nice. Penelope's not quite as OP with her buff as Averin and Freely, but we'll take it. Briv, Netherese Steel effects on the portented champion is increased by that same %. Well, that's his stacking buff over the course of a run, so you're just making that even stronger. Orkira's Elemental Fire increased by that % for each portented champion affected by Lesser Restoration. So you're making sure that that your DPS is being healed by Orkira buffs Elemental Fire even more. And we talked about Elemental Fire being just an amazing debuff, that Orkira is still queen of debuffs in the game. So you're buffing that. Whittle, Vampiric Gaze effects on portented champions increased by that %. So we're hitting all of the buffs, all of the things, all of the major things that Heroes of the Plains do. Alindra makes better with her portent. And this Heroes of the Plains ability. All of it. Alindra's ultimate is, I have foreseen this. Alindra foresees the death of all of her enemies. That's dark. Think about that. All your enemies? For 30 seconds, all enemies take extra damage equal to the total portent buff being given. So this is basically a debuff, right? Against all the enemies. This is a let's do more damage button. So when you're ready to do lots more damage, you hit this button. It's not super special. It's this little, she does a little aura around her, and then it's triggered for 30 seconds. Specializations. Expansive Vision or Extra Judgy. Expansive Vision makes portent apply to 3 random adjacent champions instead of up to 2. This is great if she's in a position where you want to make sure that it's always on the DPS and she's only adjacent to 3. Like if we move her where Averin is, this makes sure that you can see the little portent icon is a little eye. Is a little eye on the portented champions. You can see it here on Penelope. You can see it on Orkira. And if we pick Expansive Vision, it would then apply to Whittle as well, right? So this is a way to guarantee that. Plus, remember, she gets bonuses based off people having portent, right? Like there's things with that. Extra Judgy doubles Griff's chance to judge enemies as unworthy and increases the buff by 100% as well. You're going to have to figure out which is going to be the better situation for you. If you don't have a lot of Heroes of the Plains to go with Alindra, then maybe you don't, and you're only next to 2 champions in that placement, then you can go with the Extra Judgy, right? You got to make a decision with her specializations, basically. But as you can see now, portent is on all 3 of these adjacent champions. Or at least it should be, as long as there's not a visual bug. That's it. Item-wise, 2 damage all champions. We get the portent buff, we get the Heroes of the Plains buff, and we get the Brows of Judgment buff. So all of the things feeding back into portent make Alindra solid. And then cooldown reduction. So again, this is exactly what you want, because you want that I win button basically up as often as possible. Feat-wise, damage all champions, but then we go into portent, again, all of the right things, and then Heroes of the Plains, and then Brows of Judgment. So you can pick all of the things and focus in exactly on buffing whatever you want. Obviously, Heroes of the Plains, if you're running with other Heroes of the Plains, that's what you want to run. Otherwise, you just kind of go straight portent, like whatever the largest buffs are, portent, Brows of Judgment, or portent and 25% damage all champions. It's up to you. Up to you. Freely, the lucky boy, is up next. Freely. Halfling Bard Warlock. This underrates Freely. They had to lock it down to just 2 classes. Freely is like 4 classes in the live play, but here in the game, Bard Warlock. Base attack, Eldritch Blast, a beam of aquamarine crackling energy streaks toward a random enemy. We saw that earlier. He's a support gold champion. Yeah. Adventurous Tale is a big deal. For each area completed with Freely in the formation, you gain a small % bonus to the divine favor you earn when you complete your adventure. Everybody knows favor by now, right? It's this thing that you really want that earns you more gold and also lets you buy blessings, right? So Freely makes your favor go up. But only if you've completed, only if he's been in the party on areas you've completed. So this is a key that you want Freely in as close to level 1 as possible. And leveled up to 10, as close to level 1 as possible. And the further you're going, the more favor bonus you're going to get. And I'm going to key you off to something on this. He does have to be in your party when you're completing levels, but when you get to the very end, if for some reason you've taken him out, you still get the favor bonus. Just letting you know that. But he has to be in to get the completions on level. And it's only, let's talk about a negative interaction here with one of his own party members. It's only when you complete an area. For each area completed with Freely in the formation. If Briv jumps an area or multiple areas, because Briv can jump multiple areas, we didn't talk about that. You didn't complete those. You skipped them. So those don't count towards Adventurous Tale. Yeah, we got to talk about this real quick. Okay. Sorry, folks. I got to go back with Briv. There's a lot going on. Unnatural Haste. When you jump an area, I mean, you're skipping it. You're not completing it. You're not completing it. The way this works is at first you have a percentage chance to jump one area, to skip one area. And based off this speed item, you can get that percent over 100% chance to skip an area, which means you'll always skip an area as long as you have sprint stacks. And then you'll have a percent chance to skip another area on top of that. There's no cap to this. There are people out there that jump, 4, 5, 6, 8 areas at once because they just dump all kinds of item levels into Briv. Briv's a big deal. He is a bottomless pit for item levels. The downside is if you're trying to use Briv with Freely isn't completing those areas. Briv jumps bosses. When Briv jumps a boss, you didn't beat the boss, but you still get the boss's bag, the loot bag. Why is that important? The things that are in that loot bag, you still collect. What's in the boss loot bag? Gems, for one, which makes Briv great for there's an automated gem farming in-game thing. You can look up the guide and resources. You get your gems. You get any chests that boss might drop. If you've got Black Viper in the party and she forces a red gem drop, well, you get that too. Or at least you're supposed to. If you got Nova in your party and you get those things out of the boss bag, or you're supposed to. If you're not, submit a ticket. But it is reliably, you're getting your gems reliably. You're getting your chests reliably. Some of these other things from other champions. But again, those are other champion specific things. If you're not seeing that work correctly, submit a ticket. But you will get your gems and your chests when Briv jumps boss bags. Currently, my jump chance is up to 100% chance to jump 2 areas. Or I'm guaranteed to skip 2 areas, and I have 100% chance to jump a third. So right now I'm at 100% 3 skip. Working towards 4. Okay, let's go back to Freely. So that doesn't count. Briv's jumps don't count towards Freely's Adventurous Tale. And you can tell because areas completed... that you can track this number and you'll see it's not going up over on the formation buffs page. Luck of Yondala. One day we'll get this changed. Grants the Luck of Yondala to this champion. Thanks, CNE. How about you tell me what that means? Just tell me what that means. Let's go over here. It's under the formation buffs tab, folks. Luck of Yondala is the big thing for Freely. It's the big thing for Freely. I don't know why they don't explain it in the abilities tab. Grants the Luck of Yondala to this champion. Each champion that attacks with the Luck of Yondala applies a random lucky break to enemies they hit for 15 seconds. So this is a limited time bonus. Opportunity makes the target take more damage per stack, and it stacks multiplicatively. Multiplicatively is the OP way to stack things, folks. Requisition makes the target drop more gold, stacks multiplicatively. This is Freely's gold bonus for up here in the roll. Follow through. Any champion who attacks the target will have their next base attack cooldown reduced by 0.1 second per application. So a little bit of a speed attack, but it's somewhat unreliable. Stagger. The target has 2% per application. Stacks additively chance of being stunned when they're attacked by any champion. Again, it's okay, but somewhat unreliable. Luck of Yondala is the big thing, and the big thing are opportunity and requisition. So opportunity being the debuff on enemies, requisition being the gold increase. These are the two main things. And when you first get Luck of Yondala, it only applies to Freely, but we're going to make it apply to other. It's going to apply to other champions as well, and based on some stuff we're going to do in a second. So this is why Freely likes attack speed from Whittle. Freely likes attack speed from anyone. But especially you put everybody that's doing Luck of Yondala around Whittle, and then you stack up lots of these bonuses. That's a huge deal. It's a huge deal for Freely. Unlucky for them, increases the effect of Freely's Luck of Yondala opportunity. That's the debuff, the damage debuff. Lucky break by 1%. So unlucky for them is the big modifier that you want, so that enemies take lots more damage. Enemies take lots more damage. Here we go. Choose the upgrade path. You can either go Law, Neutrality, or Chaos. So Luck of Yondala applies to whatever you choose here. To all lawful champions, to all neutral champions on the lawful, neutral, chaotic axis, or to all chaotic champions. So what you want to figure out here isn't just who your primary DPS is. You want to figure out how many champions are going to be affected by this. This is where we actually need that count total that these other champions have. You want to know how many extra champions are affected by this, but you also want to know, is it affecting a multi-attack champion? Or a cone champion, like so. Orkira does her base attack, and it's a cone that hits a group. Well, it will apply, if you apply this and make sure that Orkira's in that group, she's going to apply Luck of Yondala to all those enemies. That's fantastic. If you have like an Ashara, every single one of her hits from her multi-hit is going to apply Luck of Yondala. So you use a combination of the number of champions that are going to be affected by Luck of Yondala, as long with, do those champions, factor in the fact that do those champions have a cone, or an AoE, or a multi-hit feature that's going to make you want it on that, right? We're going to go Chaos here because we've got a Cleave in Briv, who's chaotic good, and we've got an AoE in Orkira, who's chaotic good, and frankly, that's enough. We've got 2 AoEs. A lot of these other people are, folks, they're pretty chaotic in this group, but you really want to look at that total. You really want to look at that total. And you may need to change this mid-run. How do you change it mid-run? Like, you may push real deep with it under 1 specialization, but then you go to like a Zaka farm and you want to make a lot of gold, and then maybe you need to change it. Well, you do that with a potion of specialization. These are drops out of regular chests. As you can see, I don't use them very much. Wow. Yeah, you would pop one of those and you would change the specialization for Freely. Always expect count. Yeah, that was the specialization choice. And cutting words increases the overwhelm point by 5 of tanking champions. So not just people that are taking damage, but tanking champions that are under attack and within 3 slots of Freely. So that means you want Freely within. Ideally, you would want Freely within 3 slots of your tank. Now, if that just doesn't work for your formation, that's fine, because again, overwhelm isn't a huge thing at the moment. However, this is a positional formation ability, which means Archon, being a tank who usurps, can multiply this when he usurps it. So there is an interaction with Freely and Archon, where Freely can basically jack Archon's overwhelm point over 100. You can only have 101 enemies on a screen at a time attacking something. So you can get to the point where Archon takes no bonus damage, just regular damage from things, but no extra bonus damage via cutting words. Freely's ultimate, I will not deafen. Freely grabs his sword and smashes into his opponent for massive damage. He also applies or refreshes all 4 lucky breaks on that enemy if it is unlucky enough to survive. So this is another way you can get... you can just make sure it has at least 1 stack of all of his features. So if you're trying to bring down that one boss, that's all that's left. This is going to make sure that everyone's getting the bonuses that Freely provides with Luck of Yandala. Well, if they qualify. Well, no, they'll automatically get it because he'll apply it all. Item-wise, damage all champions, and then we go into lots of bonuses. So this is Luck of Yandala, but it's Requisition, so this is the gold find. This is unlucky for them, so this one is the item that boosts the damage debuff. Then there's Adventurous Tale, so this is what increases your favor bonus. And then he gets ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown. The feats, there's a lot, folks. A pair of damage all champions items. You get a lot of gold bonuses. All of these have the coins. These all affect gold. The biggest ones are the ones you want, so the requisition ones. But keep in mind, requisition only apply to things that have been attacked by people who qualify for Luck of Yandala, whereas these are just flat bonuses to gold. So it, ideally you want these for the most of a bonus, but it requires setting up that lucky break very well. There's a pair of Adventurous Tale abilities. This is interesting, folks. You don't put these in. They're in right now. Oh, good Lord, Gaarawarr. You don't put these in just to run your normal adventure. You put something else in. Like Igo, there's a pair of Unlucky for Them. These are the damage ones. I use Unlucky for Them for pushing to do as much damage as possible. But when I'm about to reset my adventure, if I've done a deep favor push, at the very end, right before I reset, I swap in the Adventurous Tale bonuses because that increases the favor I'm about to gain. That's why these were still in, because I had done a deep favor run. And then I just forgot to swap them again. But yeah, these don't have to be in the whole time. These can just be in right at the end. That's key. Keep that in mind. All right. Oh, wow. We are long on time. Okay, we're Kira Freely, Alindra, Whittle. We talked about Briv, so let's do Avron next. Let's put Avron front and center. Boom. Avron. I haven't been calling out who plays all these characters, folks. I apologize. Avron is our half-elf warlock sorcerer. He's been a lot of different things, but in this game he is a warlock sorcerer. Magical attack, magical base attack, spectral shards. Avron tosses 3 spectral shards at random enemies. 1 does damage, 1 stuns, and 1 is fake and only briefly staggers the enemy. To be honest, I never really noticed those effects, but hey, they exist, folks. They exist. Avron's kit is built around mirror image. Again, Avron is the strongest support buffer in the game, and it is because of mirror image and how it can be manipulated. Avron casts mirror image every 15 seconds. The image lasts for 30 seconds. Right off the bat, that tells us you can have 2 out at once. The image buffs its target depending on their tags. What are they talking about tags? It's this. Support role. It's support role. So that's not super clear, but this is what a tag is. So DPS increases the champion's damage. So this tells you, hey, we want to make sure that we're going to do the most damage when mirror image is on our DPS. Support increases damage of all champions. So if a mirror image does end up on a support, it basically helps buff everybody. And then tanking increases all incoming healing. So this is the minor bonus. We don't really care about this. What we care about are DPS and support tags. A champion that has both DPS and support tags and is your primary DPS gets to double dip. They get both. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Avon has two different specialization choices. This first one is good, neutral, or evil, and it's the focus of your mirror image. You want to pick, again, they put these numbers down here on the champions that don't need them. Avon doesn't need this. Avon doesn't need these numbers. It's okay, helpful, but what you're really choosing here is, what is my DPS? Is my DPS good, neutral, or evil? You pick that. That's truly all that matters, because you want to make sure Avon's mirror image lands on your DPS guaranteed all the time. That's the best thing, and the best way to do that is to pick the focus for that. I'm just going to pick good because we don't have a DPS in this formation, but that's the idea. That's the idea. So make sure that first specialization is 100% on your picking on your DPS. The second specialization, you just go sturdy mirrors. This increases the duration of mirror image by 100% to 60 seconds. That means instead of 2 mirrors out, you're going to get 4. And remember, each mirror provides buffs to the parties. So having more mirrors out gives you more buffs. Now, I know Empowered Mirror says this increases the effective mirror image by 300%. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Because mirror image buff is in an EO4 buff. So having just one more mirror out would give you a larger bonus than that 300% from Empowered Mirrors. So if you're using Avon, focus your DPS with the first specialization, then take sturdy mirrors. Now this is an even bigger deal because in itemization, there is an item for mirror image. This is another GE you want, Avon's mirror image, because this item applies the buff, the bonus, for every single mirror image that's out there, and for every single bonus that's out there. So it's basically being applied numerous times instead of just once. This is what makes an item incredibly effective. So focus your DPS and then choose sturdy mirrors. Seeing double. This increases the damage of all champions by 50% multiplicatively for each champion adjacent to Avon. So he does want to be next to lots of champions. However, the base amount is increased by another 50% for each active mirror image effect on the adjacent champion. So basically, you want Avon next to, like here, he would only be near one mirror image, but if we moved him up, he'd be near 3 mirror images and adjacent to 5 people. And if we just compressed the formation, he'd be adjacent to all mirror images and 6 people, and thus he would be maximizing the effect of seeing double. Now, this isn't necessarily what you want to build around. It's a nice bonuses to have if you can make it work in your formation. Make it work as best as you can. The key is getting mirror image out, always on your DPS, and then hopefully then rotating around on champions that are next to Avon. That's kind of your focus. That's it. His kit's very straightforward in that regard. His ultimate is called Insignificance. Avon casts Reduce on all enemies on the screen, dealing some damage and reducing their size by half, and their damage done by 50% for 15 seconds. So this is a damage reduction ability for 15 seconds. He also casts Enlarge on himself, because why not? And for the duration, during that time, his base attack changes from Spectral Shards to Kick. Here we go. Everything's going to get... Well, they're not going to... Yeah, now they're tiny over here, and then he runs over and he kicks them like they're little footballs. Like they're little footballs. Yeah. Fun visual effect. Item-wise, damage all champions, a pair of them. Mirror image, again, this is the huge one. Seeing double, and then ultimate attack funsies. Feat-wise, damage all champions, mirror image. 3 different mirror images, folks. It's kind of like they want you to use that kind of stuff. And then seeing double. Right. I use the largest mirror image bonuses. If I were stacking better and I had like the 80% seeing double and I knew I was surrounded like this, then I might go that one. But really, I'm all in on the mirror images. I'm all in. All right, Penelope Half Pint, rounding out our story, saving the best for last, just because she's adorable. Watch this. Look at the movement animation, folks. She skips along. That's it. That's all you got to know. to make Penelope your #1 champion. Halfling, Druid, Warlock, Druid, Circle of the Moon. Healing support gold. Base attack is Go Away. It's a melee attack. Penelope jumps out and hits the closest enemy with her quarterstaff, dealing damage and knocking it back slightly. So there is a small knockback on her melee, or on her base attack. Have you met my friends? Whenever Penelope attacks an enemy and doesn't kill it, for the next 30 seconds, all champions deal more damage against them. This is a debuff. Again, Penelope has to attack, so this is another situation where you want Penelope, like Penelope's great next to Whittle, if Whittle's speeding everything up, right? Yeah, Specialization, the first one, she gets a pair of them. Keep your friends close, keep your future friends closer, and everybody gets to be friends. This buffs Have You Met My Friends by 60% for each good champion in the formation. They give us totals, they give us numbers down here. This is one of those good situations where the numbers come in handy. This buffs Have You Met My Friends by 40% for each evil champion in the formation. And this buffs everyone by 20%. Basically 20% by each champion in the formation. So you got to do some math here. But at least now you're getting some numbers to help you out with that. I'm just going to go for good because I don't care right now. Second specialization, Minor Eruption versus Hey Batter Batter. Minor Eruption is kind of the go-to. Penelope's base attack now causes a minor eruption under the enemy she hits. Remember, this base attack is the debuff. Has a debuff on it now. Dealing damage in a small radius, so it now becomes an AoE, and leaving difficult terrain under them, and that causes a slow. So this Minor Eruption turns Penelope's base attack into an AoE debuff. And debuffs are fantastic. Hey Batter Batter, Penelope's base attack knockback is now 4 times as effective against non-boss enemies, so basically you just swing away and knock them across the field. And it increases her damage, so if for some reason you want to go Penelope DPS, which when she released she was a super secret DPS, then you would go Hey Batter Batter, but really Minor Eruption is the jam. Now if we come in here, in between those, we got Chewinga Mask. Whenever the formation is under attack, so this is key, this only ever kicks in when the formation is under attack, so as you get closer to your wall. Hold on, we need to turn progress back on. There we go. Penelope dons her Chewinga Mask, calling an elemental friend to her aid. It sits on her shoulder while her mask is on. All champions adjacent to Penelope gain the following charms based on their tags. So this is adjacent, so they've got to be next to Penelope to receive this. Charms last as long as the formation is under attack, and then for 10 seconds afterwards. The healing charm, Penelope heals adjacent tank champions by an amount every second. Tools for the job charm, Penelope increases the damage of all champions by 100% for each adjacent healing, support, or gold find champion. This is kind of the one you target. If you need healing for some reason, then sure, put Penelope next to your tank. But otherwise, if you can get them next to healing, support, and gold find champions, that's the one that's going to buff your party with a lot of damage when the party comes under attack. Story time. Each time a champion within 2 slots of Penelope kills an enemy, so make sure your primary DPS is within 2 slots of Penelope. This is what it's telling you. Add a stack of Storytime. Storytime stacks are capped at 40. The stacks of Storytime affect both charms given by Chewinga Mask. So this is a ramping effect based on kills for Chewinga Mask. Every time you change areas, reduce the stacks of Storytime by half. Rounded down. Penelope's ultimate is Erupting Earth. It's kind of like a larger version of what we turned her base attack into. And it's kind of overpowered, folks. I'm just going to tell you right now. Here's a hint. Pushing deep with Penelope's ultimate with a familiar on it. Yay. Erupting Earth. A fountain of churned earth and stone erupt under the nearest enemy, dealing AoE damage in a large radius and creating difficult terrain that slows enemies in it by 50% and lasts for 30 seconds. But the big deal on this is literally, if you get to Penelope's ultimate is almost, they tell me it's fine, but it feels broken because you can just destroy things with Penelope's ultimate, folks. So keep that in mind when you're pushing. If you've got Penelope as an option, I don't know, and you're not really getting anywhere, try putting her in, see if it helps. Oh, I should fire this off once so you can see it. Hold on. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Right here, right now. Live right before your eyes. Boom. That was it. It's huge. Look how big that is. And it hits everything right and around it when it goes off. Big chunkage. Big chunkage. Item-wise for Penelope, damage all champions. You only get one of them, because then we dive right into ability effects. So Have You Met My Friends gets a buff. The healing charm gets a buff. The tools for the job gets a buff. Then the ultimate attack damage, and then a cooldown reduction. All there. All there. Feat-wise, damage all champions. We got a pair of Have You Met My Friends. Actually, there's a third one now. Ooh, epic. There's a Chewinga healing charm one, if you want to go in on the healing for her. Or there's a tools for the job one. Whew, that was a lot, folks. I probably didn't comment on something you wanted to hear about. So if I didn't comment on something you wanted to hear about, hopefully you asked that question during the conversation. And if you did, Jay would have grabbed it and thrown it in a little document over here. If you forgot, throw it in chat now. I'm going to be back here. We're going to take a short musical interlude to listen to the song for Alindra, the Lore Keeper's Legacy. And then we'll be back, and I will start rolling through all of these questions. There's almost 24 of them already, so I apparently you got some questions, folks. We'll be right back.
Daughter of oblivion, changer of our fates, past and future intertwined, the path is never straight, logic cuts her enemies, reason never wanes, tolling bells of destiny as she crosses through the flames. Stories keep on moving on, teaching those she knows. Lord, keep her from dusk till dawn. Wonder only grows. She carries her home in her heart. The past and the future she parts. With a friend on her shoulders, there's nothing that can hold her. The weave of time is wayward. She can find the thread, telling one of countless futures. The rest will go unsaid. Oh, forcing through the scrolls of time. If you can read the vellum, only she can guide a friend, inspire and propel them. She carries her home in her heart.
And we're back. And we're back. All right. I'm diving in. I'm diving into the deep end of the question pool. SailNet, what feats do you suggest using with Avrin and Freely when pushing in an Ashara formation? I mean, again, Avrin, depending on where you're placing him, obviously you're going to want to do some math, but basically, Mirror Image is great on Avrin. Unlucky for them is what you want to do all the damages. This buffs the damage debuff, so pretty straightforward in that regard. Somewhat related to this, Jacques of Hearts. Regarding Festival of Fools, I don't have any of the 3 champs coming up. Should I focus on Briv or equal on all 3 champions? 100% you're going to want to pick up all champions, and you're going to want to do their variants so that you at least get those 3 gold chests. If after that you want to go all in on Briv, no one's going to fault you for that. Briv's outrageously amazing currently in his current form. Just keep in mind, whenever you go all in on champions, the standard disclaimer is you never know if CNE is going to change a champion. So just understand that you're making a choice, and it is what it is. We don't really know anything about Tatiana yet, though. So, I mean, we know what their kit looks like, but we don't know how strong they are. But Briv probably just a solid choice to go all in on. Alindra is a great champion, but in the most competitive slot in the game, slot 6. Ashara's there, Kron's there, Krull's there, Shandy's there. It's just rough to exist in this slot. Especially when Heroes of the Plains doesn't have a DPS. So a lot of times you're running a lot of Heroes of the Plains, but you're using Ashara with them or something, or Kron or something. So yeah, going all in on Briv, you know, you're not going to be wrong for that. Newell76, just curious from my own knowledge, would you still have made legendaries on Akira had you known of the correction? Absolutely. She's still the queen of debuffs in the game. It's just, she's not OP anymore. She's just super strong. She's just super strong. Knockout Panda, when in the, in your Orkira farming situation, is Ikoria supposed to be next to Narak during Orkira stacking? So the different formation layouts are going to allow different things. Ideally, yes, but I think right now, despite the fact that it shows that Narak buffs Ikoria, I don't think that buff is actually applying, and I don't know if the bug lies in it shouldn't be applying or it should be and it isn't. Submit a ticket to find out. But yeah, there's just no way in a Sword Coast formation I can make that happen though without. Yeah. Not the right way. Not with what we were trying to do and to maximize things. That was the setup. Phoenix Fire, should Whittle's attack contribute to Ikoria's spellcaster stool? Yes, because she is a magic base attack champion, so of course she does. Of course she does. If she's not, that's a bug. But yeah, I mean, it says this is how you tell if somebody's a magic base attack. You look right here and you see that this is a magic symbol. This is a melee symbol. And then a range symbol looks like an arrow. It looks like an arrow. So as long as it has that magic symbol, it should be fine. Roram on Whittles as... Hold on. I need to... On Whittles only as slow as the fastest link buff. How does that work with abilities like Strix's Specialization, Anxious Fireballs, that adds 2 seconds to the attack cycle? It should still reduce her to... We can find out, right? It should still reduce her to the fastest of the people around her. I don't have this set up with Anxious Fireballs, I don't think, but let me go change that here. Let's put her over here, and we're looking at like 425. Let's change her specialization. Usually anything that has to do with the time reduction. Here we go. So this should get adjusted down. So 625, right? And then if we put her over here, now she's come down to 405. So yeah, it negates it completely, which is to be expected. Because again, your Whittles is overriding anything about that initial champion, and this is key because you can use this, to prevent slowdown shenaniganry, right? to prevent slowdown shenaniganry that is a thing on some champions. Darius the Mayor, somewhat related. Has anybody cracked Whittle's secret code? So Whittle, there's the 2022 hashtag combo nation hidden combinations list is up. 19 of the 20 champion codes have been solved, but to my knowledge, no one's solved Whittle's yet. Hold on, I'm gonna go check. Nope, don't see it. Don't see it as solved in the combinations channel. So not yet. Get to work on that. We also have 2 combinations that we don't even know the topics for that no one's found yet. Keone John, is Whittle better for speed party than Deacon? It depends on how fast you can get Whittle. Deacon has a fixed amount of speed, roughly. You can't really. He has a feat, but he doesn't have and a specialization, but he doesn't have an item. Whittle has an item, so if you eventually get Whittle's item level up real high, and you have her adjacent to multiple champions, she would be faster than Deacon. So it's very subjective. It's just going to depend on your specific situation. Barathrin, does Netherese Steel work properly? Is it a good buff compared to tank ramping? I mean, I don't know what you mean by work properly. I mean, it works as it's stated. It raises the buff based off every time he's going to be hit. And again, it stacks up and stays with you the entire time. So it's better than ramping buffs because it applies even on levels where you're not being hit at the time. Like for some reason, if you already have those stacks, it's still applying. Barefoot Monkey, only thing about Briv is when he jumps over bosses, you miss out on gems. That's not true. Yeah, we talked about that during that. That is not a thing that happens with Briv. He actually grabs those boss sacks. Nooble76, are there still more Heroes of the Plains champions to be added to the game down the road? No. These are the Heroes of the Plains as found on the final show, Heroes of the Plains. This is all of them. Avern actually gets thrown into this. Avern was a player when the Heroes of the Veil first started, but then Todd took over as DM and Avern was an NPC, but Avern still qualifies as Heroes of the Plains. I heard it was bugged. Barathrin, if there's a bug in the game, then submit a ticket. I'm not customer support. I don't track all the bugs. I'm just going to tell you how these are supposed to work. If you ever run into something that's not working the way it is intended or the way you feel it's supposed to work, you submit a ticket, explain what's the situation is based off A, what your understanding of how it's supposed to work is, and B, what you're seeing function actively in the game, hopefully while you're in that situation, and then they'll let you know what's going on. Sailor Suzaku, outside of Lizaps, is there anyone else who brings enemies closer to the team to have them hit Briv during times when you defeat mobs before they get to you? Not right up to the formation. There are a couple champions now who have magnet abilities that bring them closer. That's like Warden and Prudence. But having things hit Briv when you're defeating mobs before they get to you doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Briv's Netherese Steel kicks in when you need it to. When your damage stops being enough to kill everything instantly, Briv starts getting hit and starts buffing your party. And you move forward that way. You don't really need him to gain those stacks before you need him to gain those stacks. It sounds redundant, but that's the reality of it. Until you can't kill anything, like his works perfectly because it kicks in when you need the bonus damage. I know people would like him to have stacks earlier for whatever reason. Maybe they want to try to build stacks earlier, but yeah, it doesn't. It's better to just wait and let him build up stacks when he's supposed to build up stacks. Barefoot Monkey, does Briv skipping areas count towards the area requirements for Eliwick's deck of many things? Ooh. It depends on the wording on Eliwick. Hold on. Usually you can figure this out. Off the top of my head, I haven't used them together, so I haven't paid attention. But off the top of my head, after completing 100 areas, so no, it shouldn't contribute. The skipped areas should not contribute because you're not completing those areas. If they made it work, I don't know. But technically, it shouldn't work based off the wording. because it says completing areas. Who is that above Whittle? I don't know now. I might have moved some people around. This is Alindra. This is Freely. This is Orkira. Let me stretch these out again. Briv, Penelope, Whittle, Avrin. Let me move this here. Here. Let's move everything around. Yeah. I'm seeing Vodka say Eliwick works okay with Briv. Then maybe they changed that. But the way it reads is specifically that it shouldn't work. So if it does, hey, bonus. That's a bonus. Sailor Suzaku, is there a non-Heroes of the Plane character that works well with a Heroes of the Plains base group? I mean, are you talking with only Heroes of the Plains and then you're adding other people? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be lots of characters that work well with that. You've got 5 slots full of champions. What's missing in Heroes of the Plains is a DPS, though, right? I mean, that could be Artemis. It could be Benwyn. I mean, these are functional. Are they going to be the best? I don't know. Delana, Hitch, Beetle, and Grim. I know Lauren, aka Orkira, likes to use Birdsong. But there's also Dritz and Makos technically as DPS in that slot. Yorvin's a DPS. I mean, you kind of have to make your own calls. And then are you talking a full Heroes of the Plains group, or are you modifying it, right? Like, this modification obviously exists. And everyone else in this party is functional with Ashara, right? So, captions got turned off. My apologies, folks. They're back on now. So this obviously exists for a Heroes of the Plains DPS. You don't get Alindra. That's why I said this slot is super highly competitive, so it may just be that you're not working with Alindra. I don't know. All right. I don't think any of the other questions are related to the topic, so we're going to go back. I'm going to start over from the beginning and do all the off-topic stuff. Newble76, any reason to save my latest Electrum chests for next week's event? Yes, I guess. I mean, you're going to get new champions, and that's usually where you want to dump your Electrums. So I would wait, because I would wait on opening Electrums right now until you unlock all 3 of the champions from the next event. Moriner came from Idols, Crusaders of the Lost Idols. Welcome. Just starting, not sure where to start or figure it out. I've got a guide for that. Drink, everybody. Drink. I have like 114. Sounds right. New player focused guides on the Idol Champions subreddit. If that seems overwhelming, welcome to Idol Champions. But there is a place to start, and that is, as people have stated in chat, my new player reference, aka a guided tour. Hit that up. That's going to give you I basically built out a milestone system that'll help you move slowly through the game and learn things along the way. Start there. Coming to streams like this and asking pointed questions, so specific questions about like what maybe what you need help with or what's going on. That's going to be a big help. Also hitting up the Discord. Join the Discord. There's an Idol Champions Discord. Have I said Discord enough? There's a new player channel there, and they're great at answering questions. There's also a resources channel and the aforementioned #combinations channel, which you definitely want to hit up. Smudik, if I get a golden epic on a champion and I have a shiny on that spot, do I get back a potion of polish? Yes. So right now, right now, there is the thing going on over the weekend with like Celestial Resistance. There's a golden epic for Shaka. If I come out here and I look at my Shaka, I have a potion of polish here, or I have a shiny here. So when I buy that golden epic, and I will, because it's just a great value proposition to get a potion of polish back, it will kick back a potion of polish, and that'll put a shiny on somebody else. That's fantastic. So paying attention to that actually can help you make your value decision on offers, because potions of polish usually only come with a $10 offer. So you're basically getting more value for your money. But it also works with the golden epics out of the patron shop too, so keep that in mind. Connellan, is there something odd going on with Morgaine's specs? I don't know. I'm not in customer support. The ones that boost paid up front are showing much higher amounts than before on the choice screen. Please submit a ticket. Please submit a ticket. I don't do customer support, nor do I don't work directly for Codename Entertainment, so I have no idea what's going on there. I also don't review the bug list all the time to know what's a public reported bug list. So please just submit a ticket. Down on the right hand, bottom right hand, you can't see it on my screen, but bottom right hand there's a question mark, a little blue button. It pops up this, just say okay, and then go submit a ticket and ask your question. And Sean or Taylor will help you out. Nathalis, what's a red gem? So Black Viper has red gems. Yeah, Black Viper. Jewel Thief ability. It adds a 25% chance that a red gem will drop from a boss loot stack. And those specifically increase Black Viper's bonuses. So it's a Black Viper thing. It's a Black Viper thing. But those drop in those boss bags, which is why I brought it up. Mujusti, I have the Ash meta group running Exalted Legend in Trials. I'm stuck around 800. Needing to clear 1450 on day one. Sounds like you're not going to do it. Sorry, but that's the reality of Trials. What would you suggest I do to get my group to be able to clear? Or for that matter, any group, what should I focus on? I mean, I don't know. You kind of got carried if you got all the way up there and you can only hit 800. I got carried a little higher than I should have myself. And I've dropped back down to where I can actually contribute. It's a general overall account power thing, right? So you've got to make sure, if they aren't already, that your Modron core that you're using is fully epic, level 15 and fully epic. You got to make sure that you've got at least full epics on all of your pushing champions with solid item levels. If you've got to make sure you've got all the patron perks, all the blessings. I have all these things, and I still probably can't. I still can't clear 1450 on day one. That's not a thing. So what do you do after that? Well, add lots of item levels, and also add legendaries. Like on that grind through Trials, you're earning legendary items. Make sure you're spreading those out on your group, and hopefully getting the buffs that you need, but also leveling them up. You can level up. You can upgrade legendaries item levels or bonus levels. If I come over here to my forge, I'll show you what I mean. Like this one, oh, you can't read it. It's level 5. This one's level 10. So technically, the level 10 bonus obviously is a 7.68 EO4 bonus. This one's, who knows, because we can't read it. 2 point something, or 2400% level 5. So I could obviously level this one up a bit and get more damage if it mattered. But figure out what's going to get you more power for your overall pushing group, and you got to go. You got to go all in on that, right? But yeah, I can't clear that level. I'm not even going to try. Trials changes are coming at some point in the future, folks. Also, some changes to Modron cores potentially. They've talked about in the next few months. We're going to see that overflow mechanic. So there's going to be where you get more power the stronger your flow is in your Modron core. So, those are things that are in the future potentially going to give you more power to be able to complete higher stuff. They didn't introduce Trials in a way that they wanted you to be able to finish all 10 tiers right away. It was supposed to be a long-term thing. Broken Trash Man. I'm trying to complete the Unfair Seas. I'm trying to hit level 275 in the Unfair Seas to Saspia. Can't get past 238. And then there's lots of information that you've provided here. None of it is pertinent. I'm sorry to tell you that. Ran out of damage potions on third try 2 days running. You need more favor, Broken Trash Man. You need more favor. That's what's going to push you forward. You can have potions. It doesn't matter. You can add some gold find that might help a little bit, but no, like if you're that far away, if you're basically 40 levels away, you need more favor in the event. You get more favor by doing a free play and pushing deep. That's where you would have wanted to use your potions. Not just trying to get, well, you are in a free play, but you got to just keep pushing and try to farm favor. If you're a brand new player, you just may not get there. To be honest, 275 is a big ask for a brand new player. But what you want to do is you want to take your formation over to the Discord and the hashtag formations channel. There's ways for you to show people like all the champions that you have, and then they can try to advise you on your formation. I'm going to say your formation could use some improvement based on what I'm looking at. I don't know how the layout is, but a couple of those champions aren't necessarily great, but it's hard for me to know if they're your best options or not. So yeah, I mean, I would just you keep doing favor runs, keep pushing, trying to get more favor. You don't want to, you don't necessarily want to use potions. Potions are only going to get you, at best maybe 10, 15 more levels, and if you already used potions, you already got that. So it's all about favor for a new player doing that. Chester Stone, Sir Gar Worthington Attenborough Cumberbatch, which champion has your favorite game mechanic that is not speed related? Well, they patched in an update to Mehen that instantly became my favorite in-game mechanic, and then patched it right out again because it didn't work. And that is the mechanic where anywhere that Mehen goes, his daughters can go with him. That's once they get that back in the game, that's my favorite thing. Because that's just awesome. I mean, that should be the way Mehen thematically. I know Mehen has had issues over time and being useful and whatnot, but thematically speaking, Mehen is Mehen is the adoptive father of Farida and Havilar. Just a great dad, and in this game, the way they brought him in, it's all about him being a great dad, and thematically speaking, amazing. If they can get that to work, it's just perfect. Now, will that make Mehen amazing and you want to use him all the time? Not necessarily, but if you want to talk about favorite game mechanic, yeah. A game mechanic where a dad gets to bring his daughters along with him everywhere he goes. There you go. Xanthfan, will Desmond's bonus work for missions when champion slots are blocked but no actual replacement? Desmond's Lament the Lost only works if there is an NPC in the slot or if there is a some kind of object in the slot. If the slots are just empty, there's no bonus. So you need that NPC or object in the slot or a dead champion in that slot for Lament the Lost to actually work. So somewhere like A Tale of Two Champions, where you only get two champions, Desmond doesn't give you any bonuses. But somewhere like Are You Chicken? Yeah, Desmond. Nooble76, what is a good number of gems to farm to full epic new champions in events? All I can do is tell you what I do. I don't know the number of gems specifically, but I open 1,200 gold chests when an event starts. You can do the math for how many you'll have to buy on top of whatever you currently loot. But that tends to get me full epic, or at least 5 out of 6, and I can just run a quick time gate or open a patron chest to get the 6th. But more often than not, I'm full epic by the end of an event. And that ends up being, over 200,000 tokens. So there you go. I don't know what that gem total is, and it's going to vary because sometimes I have looted more gold chests than others, and I have to buy fewer, right? Spidervein, Modron Core related. Sorry, you don't have to apologize. We're in the any topic is valid portion now. In your opinion, is it worth spending 500,000 gems on the Strong Core? No. I earn around 15,000 a day. Then definitely no. Or should I wait for them to release another core? Yeah. I have both extra parties unlocked in the speed modest cores. You're good for now, Spidervein. You're good. The strong core is at 15. If you earn 15,000 gems a day, the strong core is not worth it. If you earned 100,000 gems a day, I'd still probably tell you the strong core probably isn't worth it. I'd still probably say go just buy lots more gold chests for blacksmithing contracts for Briv, right? The strong core is a very specific use case scenario, and it is a very specific set of melee attack champions that it buffs. So it's only if you're going all in on very specific melee DPS options. Otherwise, your modest core, despite the name and despite Justin's comments on Dev Insights this week, is actually the strong core for pushing in the game currently. Blood Saint 12, is there a way to see our characters without being in a run? Nope, not currently. Not in game. Newble 76, if Gar gets through all the questions, will there be a root beer for your later stream? It's less about if I get through all the questions and more about if I have time to go somewhere to get lunch, because there's no root beer in the house. There's no root beer in the house. That's all the questions off the list. Let me see chat. What's going on in chat? Lord Soth. That's it. How do you beat Strahd with the original heroes? I've tried multiple potions. Potions ain't gonna do it. Again, potions don't give you the bonuses that you think they're giving you. I mean, they'll get you maybe if you can get all the way to the final level of or even within a couple levels, potions might get you through that. But generally speaking, you need gear. Higher quality gear. Like if you're running in whites and greens or blues, you need to go higher. You need to get full epic across everybody. And then you need item levels. And then you need power from other things like blessings and perks and your Modron core, right? So it's really about general overall power and not just throwing some potions in. But I know the variant you're talking about where you have to beat Strahd and you only get a handful of your original, like the core champions. It's a cool variant, but it is definitely a power check for your account. It is a power check for your account, meaning how much power do you have across all of the different things and not just, hey, do you have some potions to throw at it? So keep that in mind. 100k gems a day, Blood Saint? Some people do, yeah. I don't. Some people do. I'm currently sitting at 834,000. I had about, I think, 500,000 left over after I bought chests at the start of this event. So I'm not at 100,000 a day. I can't do that, but some people do. But yeah, that's Briv. The power of Briv and Human. The power of Briv and Human compel you. But combining Briv and Human and their speed effects earn you outrageous amounts of gems. And the higher you get, get their item levels, the more they do for you. No root beer. Are you all right? Do you need a care package? No, I only buy a certain amount of root beer to keep in the house during the week. And the bottles, like usually I can keep bottles of it around, but not like a 2 liter. A 2 liter I'll consume in like 2 days. I have no chill. It's just glass after glass. But if I have like bottles, single bottles, then I can usually ration myself a little better. The problem is the bottles haven't been in the store for like a month. So Eldwin says I earn 210,000 gems every 10 hours and the strong core still isn't worth it. Yeah, like I said, it's really only worth it if you're going all in on that melee, the 1 or 2 melee champions that actually use it. Question: best time gate champ unlocks for slot 9 to 11. So 9, 10, and 11. 9, Ayla. 10. Huh. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if there's a standout in 10. Because Tyrell is amazing and he's your default. And you get on Corey as an evergreen. Usually I grab Havilar for speed for newer players. Because usually you're running speed Mad Wizard. But Eliwick and Yorvin are cool situationally. So hard to say. 11, Avrin. Or if you already have Avrin, Nova. Yep. All right. We got about 6 minutes left. I can answer a couple more questions. What's going on this week in streaming? This is the last stream of the week on this channel. However, as somebody alluded to earlier, an hour after this stream ends, you can head over to my channel, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr, spelled like it sounds. And we'll be playing some video games. This is not an Idle Champions Day. I play Idle Champions on Tuesdays on a stream called Idle Chatter if you want to come join and ask some more questions. Lately, we've been doing patron variants, so sometimes the focus is on patron type of talk, but we talk about food, we talk about gaming, we talk about life, whatever. Come over and hang out with us on Tuesdays. But we do more specific games. I do more specific game streams on other days. Later today will be one of those. Not advertising it here. I'm just saying, come hang out with us if you'd like. Streams will resume on CD Games on Monday. And Monday night, Court of the Raven Queen returns. Court of the Raven Queen returns. So that's those votes you've been casting. Remember, here in a bit, there's going to be another vote. We'll find out whether they're going to have to speak backwards or speak in rhymes. Either way, it's unfortunate. Oops, all bad choices is what I like to call that. Link 1, you mentioned Havilar for speed. I was under the impression that was patched out. Can you tell verified? What was patched? Okay, so Havilar's speed effect functions on her having her imps out. So what got patched out was you used to be able to make it so that whenever the game started, Havilar would just, you'd buy Havilar and she'd show up with her imps. Well, that's not how Havilar is supposed to work. That was a bug. That was always a bug, and that finally got fixed. Who knows for how long. So you would just manually hit this button once, and then she calls out her imps, right? So yes, you can't necessarily AFK Havilar for speed anymore, which is why I was saying I don't know if I would do that. But if you're still at the part of the game where you're still manually bringing champions out and whatnot, you don't have lots of familiars, it isn't really a huge burden for you to just click that button. Even if you're AFK partly and then you just look over and go, oh, there's no familiars out, and then you click the button, or there's no imps out, you click the button, it's still better than not having Havilar, right? How to call imps now in auto? You can't. Not with in-game methods. Not with in-game methods. All right, folks, we're going to go out on a song for Penelope. Every single one of the Heroes of the Plains has a song in Bardic Inspiration. If you'd like to listen to them all, head over to My Guide to Bardic Inspiration on the subreddit, where they're all listed out. However, I went with the two songs that are my favorites. So we had Alindra, and then this is Penelope's song, but it's the red guitar version. Yes, there is a difference. You will hear it. It's amazing. And I will see you all maybe later today. Bye, everyone.
Won't you be my friend? One without a fear. I've got a hand to lend. We'll be smiling through the air. They call me a half-pint sprout, but I want you to know, my friends say there is no doubt that I'm a whole hero. My love for adventure is second to none. So if you come along with me, we'll have lots of fun. Won't you be my friend? One without a fear. I've got a hand to lend. We'll be smiling through the air. Remember when things get dark, I can be your light. When you're ready to disembark, be there to fight. I'm going to mold the earth just to give you a hug. And when there's a storm outside, we'll be snug as a bug. Won't you be my friend? One without a fear. I've got a hand to lend. We'll be smiling through the air. Our friendship is strong and we'll never part. saving the world with the power of our heart. I'll never say goodbye, 'cause friendships never die. Brave